Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink with more Christmas cards. Told y'all, I'm just going to keep making them. No promises that I'll make them past Christmas. People have asked me that in years past, like just keep making them throughout the year. Usually by the time Christmas is over, I am just done. But who knows? We'll see. No promises. Anyway, these are not for my stash for next year like the previous ones were. These I need like now. I need to give gifts to certain people. So I pulled out Simon Says Stamps basic box card wafer dies, and I did a video using the basic box card back in the early summer, I think. I'll have a link to it at the end of this video. So those ones I'd done like a beach theme. This time I'm going Christmas. And I have the basic box card Christmas tree wafer die set. And it's got the tree and a little star and little like snow pieces for the branches and for the bottom. So I pulled out my white glitter paper. I've mentioned before, I keep most of my scraps, like cardstock, etc., because nowadays, especially with the amount of like wafer dies, I use all my scraps. But when it comes to specialty scraps like glitter paper, I keep every scrap, always, because it's specialty paper. I don't have as much of it, but it's perfect for little things like this, like these little snow drifty pieces. They're tiny. They were perfect to use these random scraps I had from snowflakes I'd cut out. You know, you don't need to hoard everything and save every little tiny piece. But with the specialty stuff, I do because I use it. Same with like the gold, matte gold cardstock as well. I keep every scrap of that because you can die cut tiny, tiny little pieces like the little star topper. So I'm also using pattern paper. I know. This is the Make It Merry pattern paper from Honeybee that, oh, chef's kiss. It's beautiful paper. Honestly, I just need to get like doubles of all of it just so I'm, you know, more incentivized to actually use it and show it in videos because I like to hoard it and just, you know, flip through it, pet it, put it away. Anywho, with this pattern paper, it's 6 inches by 8.5 inches. So I've realized if I cut the piece of pattern paper in half, I could get both pieces for the box card. Yet you got to be very intentional with lining up the box card base to do this because you're like the cut line of the wafer die is like right on the edge of the cardstock or pattern paper, but it works. So with the box card wafer die set, just the not the add-ons, just the box card, you die cut it once, and you can use one of the rectangle dies to die cut your window in it. That's what I've got there taped in place. And there's 2 different sizes of rectangles. You can choose how big or small you want your window to be. So I tape the box card wafer die in place on the pattern paper and the window piece. So that's half of my box card. I have to repeat this process on a second piece of pattern paper. This one I'll die cut without the window, and that will make the other piece to create the box card. So with the other video I did using the box card, I think I did all cardstock, no pattern paper. So you can watch that one too, because I also think I might have explained it better, because who knows? It's getting to be the end of December. I'm getting tired. Anyway. So with the second one, like I showed, you just die cut it without the window. And then I also die cut the elements for the tree like I showed at the beginning. And I also pulled out the basic box card snowflakes wafer die because there's a bunch in this little series so far that Simon's released. And I'll link. I had done a list of like all of the different, like the basic box card and then all the different wafer dies that are available to add on to it because I've mentioned this in other videos as well. I love wafer die sets that are buildable, you know, that companies will keep releasing little add-ons and little accessories and that sort of thing because it's like, it's nice to get more use out of some of these elements like a basic box card and then have all these little like add-ons to do different themes and all that fun stuff. So I did all my die cutting. So I've got the 2 panels to make my box card. I've got these pieces here to make my tree, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just adhering the little glitter die cuts to the tree to add these little snowy elements, and then that little star that I had die cut, I'm going to adhere that on the top. And then for that, I used my craft tacky glue. Now for the box card itself, because this is pattern paper, I can't show this on video, but I'm going to try and explain it. I am not pressing very hard with my bone folder. Regardless of whether I'm using pattern paper, cardstock, anything. With wafer dies like this that already imprint the score line, I still like to reinforce that score line with my bone folder just to get things to fold better. But with pattern paper, you want to be a bit more careful because pattern paper is much thinner than cardstock. And it does have a tendency to want to split. It's just the nature of pattern paper. You know, it's the thickness of the paper and all the, you know, all the whatevers. So I just lightly go over the score lines with my bone folder and then I reinforce the folds. And then I do the same thing with the other elements. So this snowflake background, I reinforce the folds on each side, and I'm going to do the same thing with the tree, and especially the elements that are going on the inside. So this snowflake and the tree element, I bend the cardstock like back and forth on that fold, on that score line, so that it will move easily and flatten when I'm done with it, you know, to put it in the envelope. And that especially is useful when you're dealing with heavier weight cardstocks. You got to fold them back and forth a few times. It just helps kind of break the fibers a bit and makes things a little more, makes things work a little bit better. So after I had reinforced all those folds, I realized I needed to actually adhere the little white glitter snowdrift to the bottom of that die cut. So my tree's ready. Now it's time to assemble. This thing comes together so unbelievably easy. If I can do it, anybody can do it. You guys know, if you watch my videos, I don't do a whole lot of interactive cards, mostly because I love them. I love looking at them, and I love when I'm done making one, but more often than not, that's not my forte, you know? But ones like this, super simple. So anyway, I applied 1/8 inch terrific tape just to the narrow little tabs on either side of that box card. You saw me adhere it. And then I apply that same terrific tape to the tabs on each side of these interior elements. And I highly recommend something either terrific tape, red line tape, score tape, all similar. Way easier to assemble a card like this than liquid adhesive. Like, I love my liquid adhesive. You guys see me use Craft Tacky Glue in 99.9% of everything. But I will not use it for stuff like this because you're going to have to be a lot more careful and a lot more patient to not glue, you know, the whole thing shut. So, I was watching the video there. I peeled off the tape off one side, stuck those elements to the inside of the box card, folded them down, peeled off the adhesive on that side, and then just closed the box card. And that picked up those other two tabs. Again, I hope I'm making sense. It has been a very long day after a very long couple weeks. But again, the other video I'll link to the end of this. I'm positive I explained it much better. So, I assembled my box card. Super simple. Once I was happy with that, that's when I did the rest of my die cutting. Because as you saw in the like thumbnail for this video, I did multiples of these because I have several gifts I need to give. So once I had like it planned out, then I did all my die cutting like I do and explain in other videos when I'm doing multiples. So I did all my die cutting and then all my assembling, etc. And then for my sentiments, I'm using the Simple Holiday Greetings stamp set that I've used in many videos this year. I really like this set. So I white heat embossed the sentiment onto some lipstick red cardstock. And after I had done the heat embossing, I just used my cloth to wipe away the excess anti-static powder. And then I used one of Simon's sentiment label wafer dies to die cut these sentiments. So just tape them into place with the tape I used earlier, die cut them all. And then I had to figure out how I was going to finish off these little box cards. Because right now they are just basic. Cute, but I wanted to zhuzh them up a bit. So I was figuring out where I was going to place the sentiment. Again, this was my first attempt. A lot of times I'll have things kind of figured out before I actually film. But this time I was filming as I was figuring it out. Because people ask that too. They're like, you know, everything just comes together. Like, do you have all the ideas? Sometimes, yes. But other times I'm just sitting and fiddling and it's like, should it go here? Should it go here? Should I do this? Should I do this? Like, the magic of video editing, you guys don't see the unbelievable amounts of chaos that are usually going on behind the screen. So anyway, I figured out where I wanted to place my sentiment, adhere that in place. And then I also die cut some snowflakes using there's a trio of snowflakes that come in the sparkling snowflake frame and trio wafer die set. I'll have a link to that. I die cut more of that matte gold cardstock because I loved the little gold star that I put on top of the tree, and I was like, these need more gold. Like, again, they need to be zhuzhed up and just a little extra fancy. So I die cut the snowflakes with that wafer die. And then I figured out where I wanted to place them. And I kind of wanted to place them around like the front because I had purposely adhered the tree element a little bit further back inside the box card. So I cut down the bigger snowflakes so I could adhere them right inside the front of the frame there. And then that third little snowflake I decided to adhere just on the front of the card at the bottom, just to give it that little extra something. So then that just kind of adds another couple little elements to this box card. And then after I'd done this one, like I said, I did like all my die cutting at once, assembling, etc. And the whole time I was thinking about bling. When am I not thinking about bling and splatter? So I pulled out these are Spellbinder's Scarlet Smooth Discs, aka like confetti, really. And I pulled those out. And I'm adhering them to my little trees before I assemble my box card, because this is what I would normally do, is do this first. Like, do the little decorative elements like this first. It's way easier. However, I'm going to show how I added them to the first card because it needs its bling too. So I just held the card, stuck my hand in it so it's right behind the tree just to kind of give it a little bit of stability. And I used that first tree that I applied the sequins to as my guide for where to put the glue and the sequins on this. So I just looked at that tree. I was like, okay, put a dot of glue here, here, and here, and then pick up those little sequins with my little Studio Katia embellishment wand, and then press those into the glue, and we're good to go. And then set that aside to dry. So I've assembled my box cards. I've got all of them done. And then I need something for the back. You can use one of the rectangle dies that come in the basic box card set. You could especially when it's pattern paper for the whole box card, could just die cut like some white or red cardstock, whatever, with one of those rectangle dies, adhere it to the back. So you've got to place a little write something. However, I did this in the previous box cards I made, and I really love this wafer die. This is the large pocket note wafer die, and I die cut it from lipstick red cardstock. And then folded them closed, put the little tab on them. I adhered more of those gold snowflakes to it. And then I'm adhering these to the backs of the box cards. And you could use score tape again for this. Terrific tape, anything like that, that's fine. I just use the liquid glue because, again, I use it for everything. And it gives me that, a couple seconds of wiggle room to get things straight. So I adhered these to the backs of these box cards. So this gives me not only a place to write a message, but this will also hold a gift card, which I'm going to show in a second. So once I got those adhered, these are done. These were so fun to make. And there is something about 3D elements, things that can stand on their own, these little scenes, and the pattern paper. I am patting myself on the back. I did use more of my pattern paper. So yeah, and they fold flat. And they fit inside an A2 envelope, which, again, I'll show that in a second, too. So, yeah, this large pocket note holds a gift card, which is perfect. You can add a little, glue dot if you want, but I find with these pocket notes, they're just the right size that the little tab, plus when it's closed, it just holds the gift card so it doesn't, slip out or anything. However, if you want to secure it, I would use, a little tiny bit of adhesive, little tiny glue dot. It'd be fine. And then, yeah. These fold flat. They fit perfectly into an A2 envelope. Pull it out, pop it out, and you've got this cute little box card. How fun is this? I love it. So, yeah, like always, I will have a link below the video. I will link to the box card series that Simon has so far. I'll link to that list and you guys can check out all the different things. And then, of course, I'll have my supply list of what I used here. So I will have that linked directly below this video. If you expand the description box, there will be a link to my blog post. There'll be a supply list, links to everything. You can check that out below if you are interested. As always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos. Thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you haven't. I'd very much appreciate it. And I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye.